Hi, Curtis. Thanks for being here today, as always.
Thanks for having me back, man.
Indeed, indeed. Okay, so the question of the day, the thing that I am thinking about,
Huh?
as people who care a lot, if you are going through life and you're clearly putting in these efforts already to be a good human, you're really trying your best. I have I experience this myself sometimes, and I hear this in others. And so this thought of how do you know when you are living the work or when you are trying so hard to be a good person in the world that you are almost diverting this divinity that is seemingly just innate within us. How do you have thoughts on how to almost best hear the river that you're going down and make sure that you're staying in the flow of the river as compared to making your own, trying to do God's work and you're really just going the wrong way because you're trying to do it.
It's never going to be a question that there's an obvious indicator that's like blinking light, you've gotten off course. Because I think that's part of what free will is that we have to seem as though we're leading our own lives. And it's actually this tricky dichotomy where you seem as if you're leading your own life while acknowledging that the best path and the path that ultimately you will be on uh, is the path of divine providence. So is God's guiding. The things that are required of us are not that complicated. The main thing we need to be doing is um, identifying harmful behaviors and working methodically and slowly to expunge those from our daily habits. So you can not once a month, twice a month, examine yourself, look at your not just your actions but your motives and what you harbor, and see if there's anything there that you believe based on your own conscience and whatever your framework, your worldview framework is, your spirituality or your religion or your ethics. Is there anything in there that you believe this should not be done? This shouldn't be. I shouldn't be doing that. Choose something. Make an effort to not do that thing, and see if you can't have your behavior altered once a week, twice a week by that decision. If so, it's like you've started exercising and you're going to slowly see those results pile up. I know that you were asking about the good things you do in your life, but goodness starts there. That's the most important thing, because if you're not doing that, you can get to a point where Bernie Madoff was given a lot of money to charities. That you can get to a point where you're doing a lot of good things, but if you haven't done that work of cleaning yourself out, that's what's going to that tanks the whole thing. It tanks the whole thing, and that's the thing in us that can resist the path that God is trying to put us on. So the more that we're working on cleaning house there. The second thing to keep in mind is that the greatest good you do in your life is through your occupation. And occupations can come in a lot of forms. Some of them are through an organization, some are not. My mom was a stay-at-home mom growing up, and that's an occupation. What I mean is the thing you do most to contribute to the human race every day. That's where the majority of your impact should come from. And really, again, there, it's not that complex. You want to do that thing that you're doing with the majority of your time, do it fairly, justly, honestly, and in the way in which you would want to be treated. That's the most important thing. Those two things are the most important thing. Everything else, if we've got those two things buttoned up, God will be able to lead us down the right path. So it's easy to get overwhelmed. It's easy to feel like there's this complex destiny that I have to grab. And you're always free to go out and try to better yourself and find out what you're doing. I think, but make sure you've got your fundamentals squared away, which are those two things I just mentioned. Is self-examination and working to free yourself from whatever negativity or evils you have in yourself. And then the performing of your use or your occupation in the way that that you that right and true and fair. Do that string of pearls. You grab those, the rest will follow.
Beautiful. Hello, Curtis.
Hey, Matt.
So, hi. The question of the day today is how can you tell internally when you are sort of following the river that you are supposed to be on spiritually, or when you are trying so hard to live that life that you are just rowing your own new path that is not even going down the river anymore and you just don't even know because you're trying too hard to be good.
The good news is, the good and the bad news is, you don't know. You never know. You don't know when you're in the river, when you're not. You can't tell. You can have a sense. I think this is working, but mostly you can just tell when you look back what was happening. And the parts that you can do in your, I mean, the complex stuff of life and where it goes, that's something God has to handle. Think about your body and how the involuntary versus the voluntary things that are happening. The stuff that I do voluntarily is very simple. Sometimes I control the breathing. I got to shovel food in my mouth. The involuntary stuff, the digestion and absorption of food and nutrients and the breaking down, that's very complicated. The simple stuff that we can do in our life is one, self-examination. So once a month, look inside yourself. Is there anything I'm doing that is wrong or that I want to do or that I'm harboring that I feel like is ethically not right? I'm going to make an effort a few times this week to not do that and try to keep that up. And that's the main thing to connect, to get your gunk out of the way so that God can push you down that river. And then the second thing is to do your job. Whatever it is you spend doing throughout your day to contribute to the human race, do that ethically, faithfully, responsibly. Those are the main things. There's all kinds of other stuff we can put in there to try to make life go well, which is just fine. But those are the essentials. And know alongside those things that the delicate and hard and difficult stuff of destiny and all that is this is under divine management because we don't have the processing power or the wisdom to forge the path of the river. That's God's job.